بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ajaz Khan and I'm representing Ameen Housing, which is, everybody can hear me? Is it better now? So I'm representing Ameen Housing, which is the community owned or subsidized organization, which was California based, and it's only on California as we are operating. Ameen Housing, there was a same concern that all of you have, that where can we find the 100% Sharia compliant, or shouldn't say 100%, but Sharia compliant organization. So brothers get together in '96 or probably year and a half before, and start looking at that, what can we do? Because some people just simply don't want to do anything except to find the proper way. They got together and then they found one model that was, they think that very close to the Sharia compliant, and that was the Ansar Co-op in Canada, Toronto, which was reviewed and sanctioned by Mufti Taqi Usmani. So those brothers, early on, the founders, they took that contract and then asked them the guidance that how to proceed. They helped them, and the Ameen Housing was founded. So the contract that exists today is not the same as it was in the Ansar. So we never claimed that is the same contract or anybody else is behind that. So it was founded in '96, and which gave the platform for those folks who are looking for the Sharia compliant, and then also to put their money in there and help other brothers. The structure of the organization is there's a board members, and all the board members are volunteers. There's no monetary benefit to the board members. The president, vice president, secretary, and members at large. We start operating and took the model, and then when we start actually looking into that, are we 100% compliant? So we start asking the question to the Shaykh. And the first time we approached the Shaykh Salasawi about three and a half years ago, and then asked them to review, he provided some comments. We implemented those comments, and then we also approached to Shaykh Nain, and then he reviewed the contract, provided some comments. So intent, just to ensure that you understand the background of why we are doing this. All the board members are volunteers. So we want to make sure that we don't get anything except the Sharia compliant, because we are not gaining anything except to get the reward. And if we make a mistake, then we are getting the bad deeds with our money and time, which is not the good business. So we just want to make sure that we are compliant. So we asked the Shaykh also to review and provide the comments. So the funds are all comes from the members. So the way it operates is member-based. There's no other source. Money comes from the members. And within the members, whoever is interested in buying the house, they put their name in the list. We call the active list. So it says currently there's about 500 plus members. Anybody who is interested in buying the house, they ask for to include into the list. And then we put into the list. And as first come, first served basis. We don't bypass anybody. So you're number one, so you will get the funds. As the funds available, we'll proceed. So that's how it works, that you become the member, and so initially you're an investor, but now you want to buy the house. So here we are talking about just how to finance the house. So member requested, we ask them to, if you want to come to the active list, you have to have at least the 50K or asking amount that however, 500 worth of house or 700 or million. So the member requests that I'm planning to buy a house which worth 700. So he says, all right, 10% of that or 50K, whichever is less, you need to invest to put you on the list. And then the next thing is we put into the list, and then when you come to and then that brother also tells you that how much he's planning to invest on the house or want to buy the house. So we put on the list, and we don't. So once that brother reached to number 3, so we only deal with that time the number 1 and 2, 3. We invest. We say you're good. So once the brother reached to number 3, or sister, we ask him to invest the remaining. And what is the remaining 20%? So the investment is that minimum investment from the homeowner must be 20%. But we also have a cap, and what is that 20%? 20% of his plan to buy the house for. Let's say he's planning to buy a house for 500K. So he's asking Ameen Housing to provide the 500K when he's ready to buy the house. So we say, all right, 20% of that 500K must be there. That should be his investment. And rest will be Ameen. So Ameen portion will be 80%. But the cap Ameen Housing has a 600. So we don't fund more than 600 of the Ameen. So if there's $1 million house, Ameen will put the 600 maximum, and the rest will come from the member. Obviously, the ratio will no longer be 80-20. It will be whatever comes out. So that will be initial investment. Now, so once they become number 3, so now they reach to the number 1 and they're ready to buy. We looked at the funds are available. We gave them the letter of authorization, which is the LOA, and we give them 60 days to go look for the house. And once you find the house, we'll appraise it and see is it feasible or not. From the perspective of, because you also have to complete the transaction at a later date. So brother finds the house and says, I'm good with this house. We start the escrow process and the title, and then there's a form that each step, almost each has this step there with to become the member, you have to fill out the form. To start the transaction, then we go to the escrow, and then we have the forms that need to be filled out. Now, in the form, when we go to the escrow, the portion is identified there, that who owns how much, and also the forms identify that what are the roles and responsibility of each one of them, the Ameen Housing and the members. So once we determine that the homeowner has looked at the house and is ready to buy, we start the escrow process. Now we start getting into that contract that, all right, what will be the monthly payment and how we're going to proceed from that point on. So we get the appraisal from the professional organization, that what will be the house value, and that's the appraised value. And then same time, we get the rental appraisal, the market value of that. The payment, monthly payment will be the rent. Plus, we also ask them to at least start putting some towards their equity extra, like $100. And that's 100% goes to their equity. It says, so that they have a little bit early on. So that's what we call the monthly payment. It's not just the rent, the rent portion, plus the $100 extra, and the fee, that monthly fee that we have for the Ameen Housing to do the office work. Now, the homeowner continue doing that at the December 31st, at the end of the year, we see that how much we already collected from the towards the equity, and we recalculate the ratio. The starting point was, let's say, the minimum, 20% homeowner and 80% Ameen housing. At the end of the year, we recalculate, and let's say it become 25 and 75. So now the rent will be distributed that way. Whatever the portion is, if Ameen housing portion is 75 and homeowner is 25, so 25% will go towards his equity and 75% will go Ameen housing, which will be distributed as a dividend, majority of that. So now it's continue happening, and only this is the first way to change the ratio. And other way is to, if homeowner decided to pay extra towards that equity, if it's 1,000 or more, we just adjust the next month, we adjust the ratio. So that's how distribution works. At the 70%, when homeowner accumulate the 70% of the shares, we order the appraisal. That's our time when we determine the final value. Appraisal is done, and let's say the appraisal come out to be, we have bought the house for 5K and appraisal 600K. 100,000 is the gain, right? Now, what we do that, we also allow the expenses. So if you see the block where the final statement is issued by HC, that includes all that expenses. And do we have a slide for that? Okay. So what we do at that block, so I just want to make sure that you understand that box, that after the appraisal is done, we know the difference between when we bought the house and then now. And so what we do that, if there's any approved expenditure, when I say approved expenditures, means that if the roof needs to be replaced, or the remodeling needs to be done, or the homeowner wants to upgrade the bathroom or the kitchen, we call them approved expense because they need to let us know that I'm planning to do that. Those expenditures are called the approved expenditures. And homeowner pays them upfront, but then we subtract at that time. So let's say the net profit was the 100K, and the homeowner remodeled for 20K the bathroom. We subtract that 20K from the 100K, and then now you're left with the 80K profit. And that is distributed based on the ratio when we final the deal, 70%. So 70% is the homeowner assets, and 30% is the Ameen housing. So the 80,000 is the net profit. 70% of that belongs to homeowner, and 30% belongs to Ameen housing. If we go the other way, let's say the house was 500K and the appraisal came back as a 400K. Same apply. 100K is the difference. Now, because homeowner already paid 20K for the remodeling, we add that to 100K, so 120, and then we do the 30/70. And that's the final. So that's what that block means. The final statement has all that information, that these are the remodeling done, all documented. So subtract that, and then we determine the final amount. Now, homeowner can decide to continue paying as a monthly payment, which will 100% go towards that, whatever he owes at that time, until he approaches to zero, that he paid off. Or he can do the lump sum. And there's no subtraction or the penalty, whether he continue doing that way or lump sum. You can decide any time. 70% also, the homeowner can decide, if before reaching the 70%, he can decide to take the full ownership anytime. And there's no less or more, it's the same process. Once it's done, so one thing I forgot to mention, that when the escrow starts, the title is in both names, Ameen Housing and the homeowner. So that simply at that time, the Ameen Housing takes his name out, goes to the county and record and then transfer the title to them. So this is just the description of the monthly payment. What does that constitute? The rent plus 100%, which is the equity, extra equity, and 75% fee. One of the comments we got from Shaykh was we should contribute towards the tax and insurance. So that's the 70. What we do once we determine the rent, we subtract the 7%, and that's to contribute towards those costs. Rent is done every year or every other year, depending on the market. Or if the drastically change the market, that goes down, we do it at that time so that the homeowner can benefit also. So like I said, the share is, the ratio is adjusted at the end of the year, the beginning of the next year. To become a member, so that was the home process. Now, where that money comes from, that's all the members. So that's the only source we have, and that's why we don't serve as on demand. We serve as funds available. So people wait on the waiting list. When their number comes, I waited for a year and a half, and my turn came, I bought it. So the investors, the minimum to open the account as an investor is $2,000. So that's the minimum. We encourage to have more so that the people can benefit from that. The dividend is about 4 to 5% yearly, but we do distribute it quarterly. So that means 1% or around that. So total of 4 to 5%.
For those who pay more, do you give priority for those who?
There's no priority for anybody. So Shaykh asked that if somebody pay more, there's a priority. First come, first serve. So the active list is all depend on when we receive the form to be added into the active list. I, as a president, I had to wait. My turn came, the other brother secretary, he had to wait. So because of avoiding all that preference, and also there was other issues came up with even the appraisal. The issue were that the homeowner wants to have the rental appraisal when it comes as low as possible. I mean, housing may wants to have as high as possible. The same thing as the end. So what we decided to do to the board, every decision is made to the board. We have 7 members, and no board member alone can make a decision. It's all in the combined. So what we decided to go by, the Ameen housing, if the Ameen housing is making the appraisal, and homeowner challenge that, he will go with a professional organization, order the appraisal, and we'll take the average. And that's to avoid you can continue doing the appraisal until you get what you were looking for, because it's not the exact science. So that's what, to avoid all that, we did the appraisals are, if challenged, get the second one and take the average of that. So the dividend is provided quarterly. Initially, it was not. Ameen Housing is a REIT organization. What it means that, in simple terms, is tax deferred. So before it was happening, it was not REIT. So Ameen Housing was paying the tax on the income, and also the homeowner was not the homeowner, but the investor were paying the taxes. So with the REIT, Ameen Housing does not pay any taxes on those. The only time homeowner pays the tax when we issue a 1099. What does it mean? When homeowner takes the amount that is from the dividend, let's say that the dividend was $3,000, and now in his account is only left $2,000. That means he has taken out $10,000 withdrawal from his account, and those were from the dividend. So at that time, we issue the 1099. So 1099, the dividend is put back into the account, is just added to that one and put into the cycle. The members can withdraw money at any time they want, depending on the funds. We always keep about 50K or 60K for the emergency fund withdrawal. 10K, 20K is almost within a day or two. But for the larger amount, we schedule. As the funds are available, we provide the funds. So if you can see that even 2005 and 6 were the bad time. And even those time, we, alhamdulillah, with the grace of God, alhamdulillah, that we never incurred the loss to date until the inception of the Ameen housing. It's 4-5%. In 2005 and 6, we bought the houses, which are coming back to the same value. But even if we get into the low side, but we don't see there will be any negative. What we did also at that time, majority of the homeowner went to hold. We have also hold list, which when the members' turns comes and it says, I'm not ready, so okay, we'll put you on a hold, because members already waited for a year or 2 years, and then now, for whatever circumstances, he's not ready. So we say, oh, we'll put you on a hold, but let us know when you want to come back. We'll not ask you. Because what was happening, we asked every member on the hold, it takes too long. So we says, let us know when you're ready, and we'll put you back where you were. So many folks went to the hold, and we had the money. So we went to the general body meeting, who says, we want to invest that money. And we bought the house, rental property, for Ameen housing. So it's 100% owned by the Ameen housing. From the home owning perspective, it's all owned by the investor, but there's no members homeowner on that, which compensated for the any negative that comes in, because from there 100% is going towards dividend. All the rent comes goes to dividend versus the ratio. So that's the model that we have, and luckily we have, like I said, we discussed with the Shaykh and we are blessed that he's consulting us if there's any issue, and we are continuously asking anything that we can do, because like I said, all the board members who are running the Ameen housing are volunteers, and we want to make sure that we get the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's why we want to do whatever is required. Any question?
So yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, alhamdulillah, I'm actually invested with Ameen Housing. So, alhamdulillah. So that's a disclaimer. No conflict of interest here. But my main question is, when you determine the rental rate, how exactly do you determine it? Number one. Is there any adjustment for the price of, is it the market rate that it would be going for in that area? Is there any adjustment at all in the rental rate in terms of trying to make a profit motive for eventually selling the product? And what is that extra $100 and the $75 that was added? Can you explain in detail, please?
So there's no adjustment other than the 7%. The amount, the worth of the house does not mean, it's just the appraised value. The way we appraise the house is we go to the professional organizations. Bay Rental, we have the organization, there are 3-4 others. And we don't limit to the homeowner to go get the rental appraisal from anyone, as long as they are professional. Not my neighbor is paying that much. Or, it has to be
rental appraisal.
Rental appraisal.
Oh, okay, got it.
So that has to be from the professional organization, and we just subtract 7% to.
What is this? Can you explain the 7%?
7% is what we was said. So when we asked Shaykh to review, he recommended there was one was the non-compliance and one was the recommendation. The non-compliance was that early on we were doing the appraisal, home appraisal, the last appraisal, when the homeowner accumulate 100% shares. So now Ameen share is 0, so you can do the profit and loss of those. So that's when we went back to, we went to the 30/70. That's all right. At that time we'll lock it, and that was the compliant, non-compliant base. The other part was that you should share some. You give some as a token or whatever. You should share some cost on the insurance or tax. So he says, all right, from day one when this homeowner took the possession of the house or enter into the house, until he took the full ownership, the rent we will take the rent and then subtract 7% to contribute towards those two, taxes and insurance. And that will be continue until the deal is done. 7% is not based on how much you have, how much you not. So as long as you're paying the rent portion, you will get subtracted from the from the full rent.
Can you explain why it's not proportionate to your ownership?
We did the feasibility that the tax and the rent, if we do and the insurance, if we do that, the dividend will be almost null, almost. So there's no way to stay, to help. In order, I mean, with the 4 or 5%, it is hard to attract the investor. If we go below that, and that's why the homeowner, some of the board members spend a lot of time because they go a lot of properties and look into, because we have some expertise like a contractor and civil engineers with that. Even going there, they pay from their pocket. So we avoid all of that just to attract the members to come and at least have that much 4 or 5% dividend. We are still also thinking from how to increase that, and that's why we went to the portion of the investment comes in. We are trying to get the commercial market or the rental so that we can get the more dividend and attract more people. We just bought the post office, which is rent by USPS, and it's triple net, and that's alhamdulillah, and then that's also the brothers in the community. They are helping. They are real estate agents who find those type of deals and comes to us. So it's, so that's.
So just the $100 thing, can you?
$100 is the because if you just pay the rent, it will take a little longer, because the rent portion is going towards the equity. That 100% is nothing but additional towards your equity, as is.
Oh, okay.
And 75% is the office fee.
It's the office fee.
Yeah.
Monthly office
Monthly
fee.
office fee.
$75.
$75.
Okay. Inshallah. You have one paid employee?
We have two, but not full time. One in office and one is accountant.
Okay. On the left side here, inshallah.
So I have a question, please. To Mr. Ajaz, I have a question about the average waiting period and how you can control it. And another question about whether there is any gharar in estimating the approved expenditure at the appraisal time. Thanks.
So the waiting list, we have, like today we have about 50 people on the waiting list. Until 2 years ago, we have average of 5 or 6 houses per year. So when they ask me that what is the waiting time, I just divide by 5 and 6 and you'll know. But not everybody utilizes their term. So some people go on hold. So it's like, we say, for example, 50%, I have 50. If 50% goes on hold, you have 25, your number is 25. If I'm talking about the 5 per year, 5 years. Last year, we bought about 12 houses. So that doubled from the previous years. So now, and inshallah, this year we are targeting that it will meet or beat that number, because we already have 2. This year we already bought 2. So if we estimate the 10 per year, then 25, the number 25th, then will be 2.5 years. What is the gharar? I'm sorry.
Uncertainty.
There's no uncertainty on the expenditures. Whatever the expenditures need to be done, if the remodeling need to be done, we ask them to take the 3 appraisals, and only reason we do that to differentiate that if there's a big gap between one appraisal to the others, that what is the reason. But we don't dictate that which one to go with. So once you do that, you know exactly what your expenditures are. Once you're done, they kept the receipt. At the end, because that's the calculation and the subtraction is done at the end, when the homeowner decided to take the ownership before 70%, or if he reaches 70%, Then we ask them what were the expenditures, the receipt, and those are all documented. We subtract those. So there's no uncertainty on that. We don't say that, oh, I will deal with when the time comes that how much you paid.
We have about 10 minutes before the next session starts, so just let's keep track of time and try to use it as wisely as possible. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. The format for this presentation was a little bit different. Usually we have the institute present, then we have an Amja scholar talk about it. I'm wondering, is that because there is no opposition, there are no issues? I know we talked about Dr. Salah, we talked about Dr. Ameen's gone through this, or are there Amja representatives who have some issues with the contracts? Can we talk about some of those issues maybe as a basis point to make it similar to maybe some of the other ones?
Everybody looks at me as the bad guy who makes everything prohibited, right? So far, Akh al-Karim, to be honest with you, I did not get enough time to read the contract and all affiliate paperwork and legal documents that have to be signed mutually between Ameen Housing and their potential client. I did not. So consequently, I did not give my final approval for this model. But from the way that I have heard, I think, wallahu alam, as long as we are away from the slavery of Freddie Mac, those brothers are free to set the model that they want. There is no shortcoming from their end whatsoever. They have sent me all the documents needed, not only one time, 2 times. It's my shortcoming because of my very limited time. Honestly, I did not get enough time to read it. I will do this, inshallah, as soon as possible. As I said in the first presentation, they had the honor of sitting with Dr. Salah al-Sawi. They explained to him the whole model. But the most important thing that I will be issuing a fatwa, whether yes or no based, is not the explanation, is not the PowerPoint presentation, it is the actual contract. It seems, I mean, so far so good, as they say. Give me just some time until I go through the contract, read it in full, inshallah, and you will see something written on their website. Hopefully, inshallah, it will be approved, inshallah, as is.
Jazakallah khair.
I'll just make one comment. So like I said, that we are all volunteers who are running the organization, and we are only there to provide the Sharia compliant solution to the community. So whatever will come out from the Shaykh, that will be implemented. If there's any shortcoming, it will be implemented, whether we stay in the business or not, because that's the whole intent for us. The folks, they are invested early on, they didn't care about the dividend at all. Says we are there to help. So point is that whatever we think that we have no problem, but if there's anything comes out, it will be implemented. There's no question.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmadu salli ala Rasul Kareem. Abdullah Nana from California. I have had a chance to review your paperwork. I have your contract in front of me. And at the same time, just in terms of positive note, I believe the Ameen housing co-op model is the way for the future. Where Muslims put in their own money, they fund each other's houses, why involve other people? So that aspect of it I do commend. However, I think the key clause here is, I have it in front of me, described as the payoff process, which is the 70 to 30% ratio. You explained when the ownership of the customer reaches 70%, at that point the house is appraised, and thereafter the specific clause comes into effect. However, I have a specific question for you. 2 scenarios, before 70-30 and after 70-30. If I sell the house, let's say my percentage share is 60 and 40, and the house is sold, how will the proceeds of that sale be divided, whether profits are lost between me and the ownership? And after 70%, let's say 80 or 20. My ownership as a customer is 80, your ownership is 20. How will the proceeds be divided, if you can, upon the sale of the house, if you can explain that?
Good question. The homeowner can decide any time to take the full ownership. What it means that we appraise the house, and if the appraised value come back very, very low, then we say, there's no benefit to the Ameen housing. So there's 2 scenarios there. Either we say, all right, we'll take it's not the good time to sell it, or take the ownership, or if you insist, then Ameen housing will buy it. We'll give you your money.
Yeah, but how can you, if you're a part owner, then you're buying out, or what exactly is
You're
happening?
buying out, taking the shares from the homeowner, whatever.
Yeah.
So let's say the house was bought 5,000. Now you want to sell for whatever reason 100,000, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So he says, all right, if you really want to sell for 100,000, we'll take it. Whatever the loss and profit is, same calculation will apply.
Okay. And what about a third party? So here, my specific question is, selling it to a third party, besides Ameen Housing, when the ratios, as you said, 60 to 40 and 80 to 20.
Same apply. If it's not feasible, we'll say you cannot sell it. Or if you want to sell to third party, Ameen Housing has the first right.
Okay. But if it is sold, so please
If-
answer
if
the
it
question. If it is sold to a third party, what is the ratio? How are you going to divide up the profits and loss?
Same way, whatever the portion at that time, if the portion of the,
So 60-40, specifically 60-40, if the loss is, let's say it's a loss of $100,000, how will the 100,000 be divided?
so the profit and loss calculations is today's 70-30%.
So it's not going to be, so it's, will it
He-
be according to the, will it be according to the current ratio of ownership, or is this according to the predetermined ratio? of
According to
70-30?
the current ratio of the established ratio of the, so what we'll ask them to purchase before we start, he must put the, accumulate to 70%.
But what if it's not? So my question is, if it's not 60%, this is a specific question.
He has to.
It's not 60%. Can he sell it? What's the
No, he has to bring that much money because he's ready to take the ownership at that time. To us, selling the third party, he's taking the ownership.
Okay, so
Then he can
so
do
can
that.
you answer the question now? 80-20%. Okay, so the ratio is 80-20%
Right,
today.
right.
I decide to sell it. There's a $100,000 loss.
Right.
How will the loss be shared between the two parties?
That's simple. At the 70%, we locked it, right? We did the final appraisal, which says there's a calculation that its loss and profits already been done at 70%. After that, there's no expenditures sharing, or the value goes down, there's no sharing. You have determined the final value of the house at the 70%. So let's say 70%. Regardless of whether homeowner asks Ameen Housing or not, we appraise. That's the regulations. That as soon as the accumulation of the assets reach to 70%, we order the appraisal. Appraisal comes out. Let's say the profit comes back to the after deduction and whatnot is 80K, right, total. So now whatever he owes, the 30% plus that 80, whatever, is that's the amount he has to pay. How he pays this, that's the only flexibility. Other than that, Ameen Housing will not share anything.
So if I can explain, according to my understanding, my limited understanding, the basic rules of Islamic finance, right, diminishing Musharaka, a partnership is a partnership. And if you're selling, right, the ratio, equity in Islamic law, adl and insaf would mean whatever the ratio is that day, the profits or loss should be shared at that time. Locking it doesn't make sense to me at all. Locking the percentage and saying can fluctuate. In Islamic law, whatever the ownership is, me and you have a partnership. If I decide to sell, the ratio should be exactly the same as the day of ownership. Right? Mufti Taqi Usmani has written about this in Introduction to Islamic Finance. And also to clarify that this is important, I have contacted Mufti Taqi Usmani regarding your website. Till this day, you have Mufti Taqi Usmani's name there as he's approved of this.
We don't.
It's there. I'll show it to you right now. I have it. It's on your newsletter. I'll show you the website right now.
If that is
Till this
there,
day, you have mentioned Mufti Taqi Usmani's name as approving it. I have a fatwa from Mufti Taqi Usmani saying, take my name off. So I'm going to clarify that. I have the
Yes.
documents in front of me right now.
I have the emails from not from Taqi Usmani, but Mufti Nana.
Yeah, I am Mufti Nana.
What we said that, do you have my email with him?
I have both emails. You can
Yes,
take a look.
right.
Exhibit
So
A.
what we said that we never claim we never claim.
Here's Mufti Taqi Usmani's email, please.
No, I'm talking about I never communicated with Maulana Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab. What we said that, like I said early on, that what we said that we took the model early on, and that's all it says. That
Fatwa was 10 years old, 1999. The fatwa was 1999.
we are not using that fatwa.
It was on your website for a number of years.
What
Fatwa was on your website for a
you
number of years.
need to bring that under the content. We says
This up, inshallah. These side conversations, if there's details that need to be figured out between what's on the website and so on and so forth, we ask that this is something, inshallah.
okay.
I thought it was on. That these are things, inshallah, that are beyond our time limit. It is now 12:15, and we are going to start with the next session, inshallah. So do feel free to finish this up on your own, follow up, inshallah. And as Dr. Ma'an mentioned, that once he does review it, inshallah, there will be a follow up from his part, inshallah, azza wa jal.